Of this radio station.
Ah, boy. Mr. Roker, what you say, man?
How you doing?
Man, I hear you got some of them guns called the Super Soakers. Yeah. What's the prices on them, man? $45.95? And give me one or two of them, man. I can buy Peter Roker.
Good day. This is Peter Roker, Global Talk on Global Radio 99.5 in Nassau, Bahamas. Good to be with you. The phone numbers here is they're all 242, by the way, but 326-0271, 0272. The WhatsApp number is 813-0271. You can find them us on Global Facebook, Global YouTube, Cable Bahamas 974, www.global995fm.com. TuneIn Radio, and you can download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart devices. Okay, good to be here with you today, and certainly a very, very beautiful day today. One of the many, many beautiful days that we have in the Bahamas and enjoying the Bahamas, and I want to say, hi to my people out of the country. Didn't realize there were so many people listening in, but I'm getting calls from a lot of different areas, Canada, US, and even had a call from Europe the other day. So good to be, good to hear from you. As a matter of fact, I had a call from Africa, funny enough, that I met some people during the financial conference down here not too long ago, and they've been listening in. Just to let you know about my show a little bit for any newcomer. It's not about, I get very few people calling in. The show really is more about ideas, entrepreneurism, just things that might strike me that I want to pass on to you. And certainly the intent of the show is for you to benefit from whatever I'm saying. You may not agree with it, fine. I mean, that's a very healthy sign, but certainly it's well intended. And, there's many, many things that go through my mind that I like to be able to pass on in terms of what I see happening in my environment, what I see happening in the environment of the country. And there's so many things, so many, many, many things. But it's not something to talk about what happened to so-and-so and who's doing this and who's doing that and that type of thing. It's not that kind of show at all. So today, the first thing I made a note from, and I've said it so before on the show, a couple of weeks ago, couple of shows ago, what's happening with the license plates? What's happening with the license plates? I have a car that does not have any license plates. And I don't like that. Because, not the fact that I paid or could pay for license plates. Maybe they didn't charge me, but, I find there's a very serious issue involved in that. And I'm not, if not using a license plate was just the fact that you didn't have to use one, wouldn't bother me at all not using one. I mean, I'm not being nitty-gritty because of I need to see a license plate on my car. That's far from the truth. Far from the truth, right? But it carries an implication which no one has explained to me. And I find it hard to believe that your friendly insurance company is not really, I haven't heard anything from them. I pay for my insurance, and I would hate to think that the day tomorrow my car get licked the devil out by somebody else, or I lick somebody else. I don't have a plate. So how do you identify the car? How does that affect your insurance? This is not a joking matter. This is a very serious matter because we pay for insurance. We are demanded by government. Demanded. Not having insurance is against the law. You can be fined for it. Well, let's put it this way: you cannot get your vehicle licensed without insurance. So please, would someone tell me what does this mean if my car or someone else's car does not have any plates on it and they hit somebody else and there's no way of identifying who owned that car? And to be honest with you, let's go a step further. If a vehicle can be on the road without any plates, pray tell who's going to take the time to see whether it has a disc. It becomes the wild, wild west. And I didn't mention on my show a few weeks ago just to be complaining. I am truly concerned because, in my opinion, the authorities responsible for issuing plates, okay, I understand you do not have any plates. I understand that. I get that. But certainly, you can get you can get laminating machines for practically nothing, and you can print out a plate and regular paper, laminate it, give it to me, or give it to your people getting a car license or truck license, and they can attach it to their car, even they use tape. But at least you have some way of identifying the license plate in the event there's an accident. And then the other thing too is my concern goes a little bit further because, when you go and buy insurance and you get insurance, I'm sure the insurance company has good intentions. I'm not saying they have bad intentions. I'm not saying that. But on the same token, when you have a claim, that's when everybody starts shutting up. And so, pray tell, what is the position on this matter relative to the insurance companies? They must know about this. It's their responsibility to know about this. And what would happen the day tomorrow? I have third party my vehicles. Okay, I have third party because if I buy vehicles don't cost more than $4,000 or $5,000 because I prefer only my vehicle. Okay, I don't go through any financing. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but I don't personally. Okay, but even still, if my vehicle is unlicensed and I'm playing the culprit here, I hit someone, I'm in the wrong. I'm responsible. My insurance company, the idea about, as far as I know, about third-party insurance is where at least what the government is doing is saying, you might suffer the liability or the damage of your car. That's your business. But you're not entitled to go and damage someone else's car or body injury, without having the ability for that person to get compensation. I believe, from what I understand, that the when it comes down to injuries, it could be up to $1 million. So hospitals aren't cheap, even government hospitals aren't cheap. So when you go and you hit somebody's car and they get damaged or broken leg or punctured lung or whatever the case is, then the third party gives some comfort. But if the car doesn't have a license plate on it and drives away, what do you do? So this is not a joking matter. This is a very serious matter. And I think that the insurance company should be put on notice that if they are not raising this issue, then don't wait until somebody has a claim. Because don't tell them then, according to the law, according to their policy, or according to the law, whatever the case is, you can't have a claim. Well, I know, and I think I'm correct in saying that if you have insurance, you pay insurance. Now, I stand to be corrected, okay? But if you have a problem and you don't have a valid driver's license, I believe I'm correct in saying the insurance company say your insurance is not worth the paper it's written on. Now, I understand that to be the case. I stand to be corrected. So there are laws that govern the issuing or issuance of insurance coverage. There are laws. And so to me, this is not a playing matter. This is a matter to be dealt with. Okay. This morning I was driving on Bethel Avenue. This car up ahead of me, maybe, I don't know, maybe quarter, not 200, 500 feet, or maybe, decided that, you know what? I was going north. So he decided to come south in a one-way lane. And it's a two-lane drive road. But this doggone car coming face toward us, the other person blowing the horn, and fortunately, there was an accident because this person was decided that it was too much trouble to go around to go to the corner south of him. And so this place, driving around Nassau now, is like driving a hazard course. I mean, that's all I can call it, okay? I mean, it's like driving a hazard course. So more than ever, we need to know that we can enjoy the protection that we're paying for. So please, for God's sakes, do something about this, okay? And also, while you're at it, look at different issues. Look at some other issues. I mean, sure, there's more issues out there, and I think the public, and also the public has to be minded that you go around accepting certain things. It's all very well until you get in trouble and find out that, hey, listen, what you have been accepting is not for your benefit. So please examine that and understand the liability involved. Now, I'm going to devote most of the show toward something that, is very close to me. And then I go on Facebook quite a lot. And I'm following a number of different sites, farming sites, farming, different ideas in farming. I mean, I love it. Farming, agriculture, horticulture, different ideas I see. I mean, I'll give you an example. I was reading something the other day, and this one site was saying that if you get 3 or 4 candles, wax candles that have a wick, and you melt them down and put a scoop of coffee and I think a scoop of baking soda, a teaspoon of vinegar, you can create and you put the wick back in, use a clothespin to put a wick across the glass. Of course, you melt the candles down so it's liquid. Put the wick in there, put a wooden clothespin to hold the wick in place, and you add that vinegar and coffee, ground coffee. And the candle you create can be good for mosquitoes, flies, and supposedly all types of flying insects. So there's a lot of stuff on there, that I find extremely interesting, right? But there's something I came across the other day. Mr. Hemingway had made a statement on Ernest Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway was a notable author, and also Bimini. Bimini was his second home. He spent a lot of time in Cuba, Mojitos, which I think became famous because of him, and spent a lot of time over there. I spent a lot of time in Bimini. He wrote that book, The Old Man and the Sea. Spencer Tracy, really notable movie. But anyhow, he made a statement, and it was really, really profound to me. And I guess using the word intelligence was really in a certain context. It had to be in a certain context. Because what he said, what he actually wrote, was that intelligent people were not happy people. Now that got my interest. Intelligent people were not happy people. And he said the reason for that was because an intelligent person, and I say intelligent, the word itself does not mean you went to Oxford College or you got this big academic education. Real intelligence is in another arena. Okay, so but what he was saying, intelligent people were not happy because of all of the things, wrong things they see in society. Didn't say they weren't happy anytime at all, but they couldn't be happy a lot of times because they would not and could not accept certain things was happening in society that would have been hurting people, causing misery, causing suffering. They were wrong. That was sometimes deliberately wrong. And I thought about that for a while, and it makes all the sense in the world because, you know, how can you be happy if you, or how can you be totally happy? Let's put it that way, right? When you see so much wrongness around you, it's not very easy. It's not very easy. And when I say wrongness, I mean I'm talking about different forms of difficulty people are going through. People losing their house, people not being able to feed themselves properly. These are all issues that I think make room for the fact that being exposed to that really, you cannot be happy in a situation like that. So I found that statement to be extremely profound, and I think that it made me an intelligent person because that's really what bothers me. That's why I have the show, by the way. Okay, that's one of the big reasons I have the show, is because I am not happy. The things that I am happy with, I am more than anxious to say on the show. And I've said many times the things that make me happy. I like reporting good news. But the truth of the matter, there are many things happening in this country, well, in the world, but I'm living in the Bahamas. So when it comes down to the Bahamas, there are a number of things happening that cause for my not being happy as much as I would like to be. And so I have to agree with that statement that was made. And certainly, I do my best to where I can change that. I try and change that. And that's one of the big reasons I have the show, okay? Now, I want to switch over to entrepreneurism. When I look at our society, and I'm not about to complain about this and complain about that or complain about the other, because talking about the past, and I need to talk about some color here too. I'm going to write it down. So need to bring that in too. Let's talk about the past, right? I want to talk about that as well. But the truth of the matter, everyone has to live. That is the fact of the matter. Now, just a day or so ago, I'm going to throw some stuff out there to you. Just a day or two ago, I saw on social media where 4 gunmen dashed in. Well, they robbed the people on the outside of Starbucks at Harbor Bay. They robbed them outside first, and they bust inside and made everybody go on the floor, and they robbed them. And the person who narrated that situation was there and said he was scared out of his wits because each of these four people had guns. Now, I am not a I'm not a psychiatrist or psych, in, um, I'm not one of those persons that can professionally evaluate people, right? But crime is associated with hardship. Now, you have a lot of white collar crimes happening in societies that are doing well, that people don't have that much hardship. But that's normally because of greed. But at some point in certain societies, people say, you know what, the hell with this. This ain't working out for me. And there is a better way for me to get what I want. I can take what I want. And I believe that this is happening to a large extent in our country. You may say, thank God that it's only happening primarily in New Providence. But of course, once something starts happening in one area, well, you can't say not happening in the outer islands, because it is happening, but I guess we'd say percentage-wise. But, we have got to examine these facts and trace these facts. It's not only about putting more police out there. It is not only about building a bigger jail, because you can't ever build a jail to jail everybody in this country or half the population. So it's really about making an analysis of this whole thing. And I'm not saying that there is a solution or that there is an easier solution, but certainly what is happening now is not the solution, in as much as the ability for people to be entrepreneurs and to earn their money themselves by their own generation. In other words, look at it this way, right? Let's just make a quick assumption about something. Let's say let's say there were four people involved in this thing. What was it going to be the take? I'm not sure what time it was, but I would say if they got away with $5,000, it would have been plenty. Okay? If they got away with $5,000, it would have been plenty. So that's $5,000 among four people. That's $1,250. This thing had to be planned. There had to be a tremendous amount of collusion as far as each person not talking to the next person, at least at the beginning. It involved having guns, which cost money. It involved just taking that big chance it wasn't somebody else around with the gun to blow their head off. It now involves, and I must say that the incidents that I see happening, it appears to me that most of these people are caught. So it involves the likelihood that you get caught. It involves the likelihood you go to jail. Okay? So how do you stack that decision? So that they had to make a decision. They had to make a decision to do that robbery. So how does that stack up in terms of entrepreneurism and saying that I can put that amount of planning and that amount of effort in doing a business that would not only make that 1250 very quickly, very, very quickly, but would continue to make the 1250. most, if not all, people that steal are very intelligent people. Let's get that straight. Dumb people can't steal. Dumb people make mistakes, but dumb people can't steal. Stealing, real stealing, and thieving or whatever takes talent. Okay, so what I'm saying. So what is Roker talking about? What is Roker talking about? Well, you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about the fact that for the last God knows how many years, we ought to have been doing something to create more entrepreneurs, more people who could look at making money on their own, to get that enthusiasm, to get that rush of adrenaline going through their veins, to create their own money, and to be respectful in terms of their own mentality and saying, I am generating my own money. But it's hard in this country to do that. I can debate this with anyone. That is just about impossible. Okay? And if we were spending our time trying to pave the way, there should not be. Just this morning, I was looking on the site at Alibaba and looking at a machine that could rip up tires in seconds. That costs like about $2,000-$3,000. Okay, look how many tires we have causing a bunch of problems and pollution and stuff. How many bottles are being thrown away? How much cardboard? How many pallets? You want pallets? I can give you 100 pallets right now with ease. And so we have now created this monster because we feel that we can get up in the morning and we can use this earth of ours, and then next day do the same thing. Throw the used food containers, throw the soft bottles away, and at the end of the day, we become entrenched in this slavery. That's all it is. It's slavery. You talking about slavery before? This is slavery. Because all of this is intertwined. All of this is intertwined. And when we had a more of an economical base, I driving on Bay Street this morning. Boy, it's almost 12, 1 minute, 12:30. Monkey, but this time goes by fast. But I'm going to go through a little talk. Well, this entrepreneur thing is going to continue. But after the break, I'll pay some bills, and after the break, I want to get into to more about this. Okay, you ready, Jason? Let's go.
Yeah. What's the prices on that, man? $45.95. And come on, do that, man. I can buy Peter Roker to buy me the super soaker. This gal think I's a joker. Take off her clothes and soaker. I go and buy Peter Roker to buy me the super
Hi,
soaker.
this is Peter Roker. Global Talk on Global Radio 99.5 FM in the Bahamas, in Nassau, Bahamas. Good to be with you. Phone number says 326-0271, 0272, 813-0271. Facebook, YouTube, 974 Cable Bahamas, 99.995fm.com, TuneIn Radio, and you can download the FM of Global 99.5 FM app on your smart device. Okay, let's do some advertising, right? And I want to advertise Builders Discount Depot. They are located off Samala Butler Highway on Ballot Road. They're on both sides of the road. The little hardware store is on the southern side of the road. It's a little small plaza strip. And the yard, which you'll see all the sand, all the building materials, is on the north side of the road. Can't miss it, okay? Now they have all of your building supplies, okay? Lumber, plywood, sheetrock, cement, rock, sand, you name it. Plus tools, um, sheetrock tape, everything you need. The great thing is that they're open from 6:30 until 5 every morning, Monday to Saturday, and 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Sundays and holidays. Now that might sound simple, but when you look at that, you have to understand and realize that these people want your business. They are there to serve you. They are asking you, please come to us because we are willing to be there for you when other people are not willing to do so. And most of those are doing so following fashion. So these people want your business. They got great prices. They got everything going for them. Now, the sister business is regional wholesalers and importers known as the former Little Giant, and they're located in the Bargain City Plaza. They're open at 7 till 3 presently. They should extend those hours momentarily, but there again, they're open on Sundays and holidays. Sometimes these are the only days that the person get a chance to do his own work on his building, get a chance to go make a couple of dollars for somebody else, from somebody else. And it's important to be able to go out and buy materials on a holiday and a Sunday. And those two companies, Builders Discount Depot and RWI, Regional Wholesalers and Importers, known as Little Giant, they have everything you need. They always have cement in stock. They always have rock, sand, sheetrock, Durock, you name it. They have it, okay? And they have it really good prices. Now, they're both also known for the unwrapped shingles, unwrapped architectural shingles. $29.99, 33 bundles or more. Okay? Now, when you're doing a roof, you need 33 bundles anyhow. And so these people are dead serious. They got things that other people don't have. And they fighting for your business. They're trying to court you. They're saying, come to us because we will go the extra mile for you. We want your business. We want you to come by and meet us. Betty, Miss Taylor, Miguel, Otterson, you name it. They want, I can't forget Dorothy. They want your business. They out there saying, come to us. We got 2 locations, man, and we want your business. So let me take this call real quick. Boy, you disturbing me my show? Huh? Don't say nothing don't say nothing too loud because you're on the radio, okay? I dead serious. Yeah. don't use those curse words. I'll call you back, okay? You want to tell the Bahamas hello? Just say hello. Okay, there you go. I'll give you a call back. I didn't cut you off. I just playing hard to get. Okay.
I got something interesting to talk to you about.
Okay, well, I'll call you back after the show. Okay.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Hey, now you see how crazy my show is? Hey, huh? This ain't no. Jason laughing his head off. Hey, okay, we go back to my regular show.
girl from Bahamas right now to be my victim. I don't want them too fat. I don't want them too slim. I want them nice and bright and real good, real good.
All right,
Like
Peter Roker, Global Talk on Global Radio 99.5. Good to be back with you after the break. Oh, that was my son. He's in Florida right now. And, you know, I guess he didn't realize I was on my show. But anyhow, that's what my show is all about. It's not so stuck up and precise and exact. I don't wear no pinstripe suit. I carry no briefcase. So, hey, what you see is what you get. And, you know, I enjoy doing this. But the most important thing is where I do have a social conscience and I do have an opinion. I have an opinion. I have an opinion. If someone can come back and show me where I'm wrong in something, the way I think, I'm more than happy to admit it. Never happened before, but if it ever did happen, I'd be more than happy to admit it, okay? But getting back to where we are, getting back to crime, you know, like I was saying, we have to light and ignite that fire. We have to light that fire of entrepreneurism from a very early age. Now, put a pin there for 1 second, because when I drove down Bay Street just coming to the show, I see this enormous amount of tourists on Bay Street. I mean, they're like butterflies. I wouldn't use any derogatory type of description. I use butterflies, like fluttering butterflies in the sun. You know how beautiful that is? To see them all different colors and shapes and whatever else and whatever else and whatever else. But, you know, at the end of Bay Street, where Bay Street used to end, at the Bridgestone Hotel, I walked that 4 days ago. Not 4 times a day when I worked on Bay Street years ago. I walked that from there to where Scotiabank Yard is 4 times. Now listen to this. In the morning, twice for lunch, walked from there, went home, had a hot lunch like beans, soup, and white rice, and walked back in 1 hour. And then 5:30, 6 o'clock, when the man said, okay, to go home, walked home. Now, the reason I'm saying that is because why in the devil can't we get tourists to go beyond Elizabeth Avenue? It isn't that much of a walk. And coincidentally, they're walking to the fish fry, which the government of the day, whichever day it was, never wanted it to happen. And when you talk about entrepreneurism, never wanted it to happen. Never wanted that to happen. But nonetheless, the people are walking from the cruise ship to fish fry. But you can't get them to walk from the cruise ship past Elizabeth Avenue. Something wrong. Something wrong. Something is wrong. Something is terribly, terribly, terribly wrong with that. Terribly wrong. Terribly, terribly, terribly wrong with that. It shouldn't happen. It shouldn't be that way. Now, Mr. Grazioli, I think I'm pronouncing the word semi-correctly, Great Cliff. People walk there. Tall cars and buses are going there. Why? You know why? Because he has had the mindset to create something they want to see. And you cannot tell me that these thousands of tourists wouldn't continue to go over the hill on Blue Road and see that. You got a beautiful church sitting there. You got all those historic buildings, Mr. Dr. Walker and the former home of one of our governor generals, and this thing and that thing and the next thing and the next thing, laying fallow like a toxic farmland. And you have that part of Bay Street laying fallow. Now, you can, if you had that sidewalk lined with Bahamian entrepreneurs, you know what? If those people don't want to use those buildings, put something in front of it. Let Bahamian entrepreneurs take over the sidewalks so those tourists can walk and as far as the bridge or further. Because they'll do so. So something has to be done. I mean, I saw those beautiful buildings on Bay Street. They just tore, one had almost burned down the other day. Finally was tore down. But years and years and years and years. I had a big argument that, hey, listen, I ain't want to do something here and that's whatever. Well, put some entrepreneurs in front of it. Okay? Put some entrepreneurs in front of it. But the thing is this, it cannot be allowed to be done to get people in trouble. If you look at the ability for every site that we have, the Montague fish ramp, for argument's sake, if you look at that, they're doing a good job there. Government finally got the sense of mind instead of trying to put people out of there, which I know about. I demonstrated for that cause. But it could go a lot further. Everyone coming to this country would like to see somebody taking a conch out of a shell. So you have a site right there. Under the bridge, you have a site right there. But you see, you cannot assume that we are a bunch of bush people and can't do nothing right. We can do things as right as anybody else. All you do is lay the policy down, and we will follow the policy. I'll give you an example. Right now. Some years ago, I go to Panama, and I remember there's one bridge you had to cross, and there's always somebody selling coconut water there. And boy, I just love to stop there. Big coconuts, bigger than my head, and buy me a coconut, boy, and drink that down, and they cut it and get the jelly and stuff, right? Loved it. And you couldn't find that in Nassau. You could find coconuts in Nassau, but I want you to think for a second. Let's go back 10 years or a little bit further than that. Can you remember seeing anybody selling coconut water on the road? Well, we always had the coconuts, We always had the coconuts, we always had the roads, and we always had the people who wanted the coconut water. But can you remember it being sold? I don't think so, because it wasn't being sold. Now, you may have had some, bars and stuff that might have had coconut water for gin and coconut water, etc. Not saying that, but the profusion of coconut water vendors in New Providence is now prolific. Okay? Now, there's only one doggone problem, is that they can wait for a big issue of sanitary conditions to close them down, and the amount of waste, all those beautiful jelly coconuts most of the time sitting right there rotting down, got to be thrown away. And so it's a formula for disaster. Now, I have not bought coconut juice, and I will not buy it in a container. But that is what it has evolved to now all of a sudden. It's evolved to being in a container. Now, let me throw out a challenge. I'm going to throw out a challenge to the parliamentarians. Now, I'm doing this in good faith, okay? I know most of you, a lot of you maybe may know me or whatever. You're good people. I mean, for God's sakes, in your constituency, go and get one or two or whatever of these coconut vendors and design a little coconut water depot. Okay? And you can have the little umbrella straws. You can make it so much different. Don't make it someplace that is an eyesore and a source of difficulty. Ministry of Health. Get one truck. I ain't talking about no freebie now. And these registered vendors can collectively have their refuse picked up every day. They are business people. They are entrepreneurs. And if we go about it in the right way, that can go so much further. But it takes the interest of all concerned. Because right now, they do the coconut up. They don't have time to move it in the evening. No one to move it. It's an eyesore. Okay? And so let's collude on this matter. Let the parliamentarian, you a member, if there's any parliamentarian in our House of Parliament whose constituency does not have a coconut juice or coconut water vendor in the constituency, hold your hand up. I believe that some might have more than others, but I believe that they exist in each and every constituency. And I'm appealing to you to look at it, not from charity, because it's your job. It is your responsibility. It's your responsibility. And it's your responsibility not to give out your salary, but to find sustainable methods of the people in these constituencies being lighted with fire toward making a living. And this will go through the whole system. Mr. Grazioli has to be admired. His son has to be admired. The chocolate factory, the liquor thing, the wine thing, the cigar making. How many? I went to Great Cliff the other night. I was invited down. I can't afford Great Cliff. So I might to tell you, it's a lovely place, but I can't afford it. So I might to tell you the truth, though. Tell you a little joke about that. I had lunch there. Well, gotta be 30 years ago. I almost had a heart attack when the bill was $35 because back then lunch was you could get lunch for two for $10, so $7.99. Anyhow, not criticizing that, but they give, trust me, they're world renowned 5-star, etc. Right? But the point that I am getting at, why aren't there more cigar vendors on the road, on Bay Street? Nice little neat setup, making those cigars. All these tourists floating around. Why not? I say, why not? Or I ask, why not? And so this country needs to be bursting open with the crazy entrepreneurs. You got to be a little bit crazy to be an entrepreneur. And using every method to create their own income. It needs to be organized. It needs to be an individual. It has to be an individual thing. But government has no option but to get involved with it. Has no option. Has no option. And I'm not talking about giving people money. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about setting the stage where the Bahamians can now have a clear path toward having an idea. Let me give you an example. You take, for instance, somebody wants to make Bahamian pasta with some flavor to it. Okay? A little bit different, okay? Well, they need a pasta machine. No big deal. Well, they need the packaging. No big deal. So they put a little package together. They go to government and say, I need to bring this thing in duty free. And be able to walk out with that permission. That person is spending, it might be a $3,000 or $4,000 investment today. And 10 years from now, it'll be a $3 to $4 million investment. Okay? They want to do bush tea. They want to do, you take, for instance, I saw a machine on, there again, Alibaba, and a little manual thing. Boy, that takes off that little coconut rind and in seconds makes a nicer looking product. Okay? So we have to understand the need to get the entrepreneur spirit moving faster and bigger than it presently is. Because the only way out of this situation is by us creating our own income. If someone can do I know years ago, I had a shop and somebody wanted to sell me stuff. And I gave them some advice about packaging, putting a little label on it. And they did it. I don't want to mention the person's name, and they were very successful. A few years later, man, they had different little routes to go on, and they were quite successful. But we are lacking that. And I am going to tell you something right now. The lack of that In my opinion, now I'm talking about my opinion, you see, everybody is entitled to an opinion. I'm talking about my own, is contributing to crime. Okay? Okay? I'm not saying that an entrepreneur can delete crime. I am saying that the effort it takes to be a criminal is almost greater than the effort it would take to make a legitimate living. I am sick and tired of hearing mothers screaming and crying of their son laying on the ground with blood oozing out of them. I am a father myself, and the greatest fear is for something to happen to one of my children, for Christ's sakes. Okay? And we've got to stop in our tracks and do not relax until we feel in our own individual conscience that we have done every single thing from an individual perspective, from a government perspective, from a church perspective, and from every perspective. Because locking people up and knocking them across their head and putting them in the courts, my God, my God. I can remember being at Boston Square, the court area, and seeing these children shuffling with their hair all messed up and ain't combed for days and clothes dirty. I remember on Nassau Street. This should not be happening. And we have to all individually, we have to ask ourselves a question. Are we a people going to acknowledge that nothing can be done? Can we say that we have individually and collectively done everything that can be done? I can't say that. Can you say that? And if you cannot say that, then we cannot stop until we have done every single thing we can do. Okay, and I know what I'm talking about. Okay? I know the struggle. And you cannot, as a father or as a mother, as a brother, as a sister, you cannot stop until you have done every single thing possible, because failure is not an option. Because when these young people fail, and not so young people fail, the terror that brings into your home, into your mind, and into your body is not acceptable. I mean, the pain is not acceptable. It cannot be borne by someone. Now we're going to cut off commercial again, Jason. We're going to go again. This, boys, 1 o'clock already on the dot.
45.95. I'm gonna do it, man. I can buy Peter Roker to buy me the super soaker. This gal think I's a joker. Take off her clothes and soaker. I go and buy Peter Roker to buy me the super.
This is Peter Roker. Full talk on Global Radio in Nassau, Bahamas. Good to be with you. And of course, the number here is 326-0271, 0272, 813-0271 is the WhatsApp number. My cell number is 424-0749. You can call me anytime you wish to, okay? And of course, you got Facebook, you got YouTube, you got cable, 974. You got everything, okay? No excuse for not reaching global radio. Okay, now you might say that I'm getting carried away. I am not getting carried away. I am concerned. I feel the pain. And as a human being and as a Bahamian, something needs to be done about it. Having a jail is necessary. Having police is necessary. Having the courts is necessary. But it cannot be the only solution. Cannot be. And from what I see and what I am experiencing is we need now, we should have years and years ago, it never should have come to this. It never should have come to this. And so, better late than never. Telephone call? Go ahead, please. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
Mr. Roker, I hear you, your lamentations with regards to downtown and how and the lack, and even though we've got incredible growing tourism numbers, particularly on the cruise ship side, we're really not benefiting as we should. And I think it's because the linkages just isn't there. You mentioned Bay Street, Elizabeth Avenue. I prefer that this Bay Street east of E Street is dead, and because there's nothing there. There's nothing there. I'm a world traveler, all over Europe in the old towns and cities. And one of the things I find is that if you have, like I think you mentioned, if you have interesting things to see along a route, you'll walk for 20 miles without realizing it. And that's what happened to me. I went to cities like Salamanca and old cities in Spain. I was surprised when I realized how far I had walked, and I had to catch a cab, get a cab, hail a cab, take me back to my hotel, many miles in the opposite direction. And so somehow the owners of the property and on the private side and the government side they need to get together and craft a strategy to to improve that end of Bay Street from East Street, I would say, all the way up to up to Potter's Key, to make that an interesting walk. And you yourself mentioned that people are walking from the cruise port to the fish fry. So, that's obviously a better walk. And there's a destination. There are things to see along the way, and then there's the destination, the end destination of the fish fry. So, if you create something at the other end and make interesting shops and cafes and crafters and vendors along the way, I bet you will see a lot more happening. And those tourists, will come off the ship rather than stay on the ship because there's something interesting to see. One day I was just driving around by the Central Bank, and I watched some tourists come across Market Street. They walked as far as the Gregory Arch, and then they turned back. And I said, what if you had developed what I call the working name historic Market Street, where there are local, authentic experiences along the way, all the way to Wolf Road. I would bet you'd see tourists. And of course, you have the safety aspect that would have to be addressed. And you walk I bet people will walk all the way to Wolf Road. If there was something, the same thing would happen to East Street and all of the other north-south corridors off Bay Street. It's just that we have not developed it. And obviously it'll have to be a public-private partnership, to make that happen. And that sort of thing is not reinventing the wheel. You see it all over the world, where the usage of a place change from one thing to another. And what used to happen there, it wasn't happening anymore. It went into derelict. It became derelict, and then it's called urban renewal. And so, but it has to be a all hands on deck approach between the public and private sector.
Well, I could not agree with you more, and that's what I've been lamenting about all these years. Not that. Let's put it this way: we are all responsible, and we all need to be participants in this matter. Okay,
Right.
It's doable. It's doable. It's totally doable. I have been on record to say that the Bahamas' weather, the beaches, the sunshine is really, really, really beautiful. But there are other beautiful destinations as well. But there's one peculiarity about the Bahamas, and that is what we could brag about is the people.
Yes.
The people make that spirit. And I would say, not. Let me tell you a little story, okay? Years and years ago, okay, let me say this to you. I could almost cringe when I hear the police tell me to lock my car and drive around the block a couple of times before I go to my house. I say, well, what the devil are you there for? But the point I'm getting at, let me put the point I'm getting at. I had a place on Blue Hill Road on Hay Street. I had a brush artist, okay, airbrush artist, paint a mural, included Samala Butler, Freddie Munnings, a number of 4 or 5 notable Bahamians, right?
Right.
On a wall, a mural, right? And that the surrounding area fell and around that, and no one ever put any graffiti on that. Give people a reason to be proud, and they will be proud. So I say to the whole Bahamas, right? If you were to cordon off, say, 2 blocks, and I go back from Blue Road to say Market Street, okay? Go down by the post office block, that Visa Street or whatever they call it, right?
Right.
And get that whole area. Get the churches, get the people who own the buildings, and get a massive movement. First of all, the first thing gonna happen, real estate there gonna go up the ceiling. That's number one. Okay, the real estate prices, and rightly so. So those persons having enough sense can go in there and say, boy, I can have a little boutique hotel with 4 or 5 rooms. The next one say, boy, I can have this little thing. I have a little manufacturing. They're making the cigars, and convert that area, tackle it piece at a time. Now, let me tell you something right now. I am a Bahamian at every level. I know about Drummond Collins Wall. I know about teeth and oranges and grapefruits. So don't mess with me. I know about skating. I know about skating to school. I know about the skate scooter. I know about all that. Okay. I know about starving too. Right. So listen.
Right.
Let me tell you something right now. I dare the person to go and talk no foolishness in that environment. You know what? They will be unceremoniously thrown out, because the people will protect what they have. These people aren't stupid, okay? They go and they create something. Ain't no one coming around there talking no foolishness about being throwing the ball, Guinness ball on the ground or whatever the case is, right? They will protect their environment. But
Yes.
you know, I'm not blaming anyone. I'm saying let's stop the train. Let's stop and reset.
Yes.
Okay, and I will say something. But I've said it before. The 12 or 14 or $15 million spent on Carnival. Well, first of all, let me go on record of saying this again for the 10th time. Any idea about having a carnival in this country when we have the most precious thing in the form of Juggernaut was an insult. That's number one. But that same $15 million could have transformed 10 blocks over the hill. And when I said and make money, this is not about charity. I don't believe in charity. I believe in giving somebody the ability to help himself. Okay? And the more time we waste in not doing this, the more people are going on the drain, and the less chances you'll have to do it. Okay?
It's a tragedy that so many of the young people are just being sacrificed. Because nothing is happening. Nothing is happening to motivate them. And the ones, there's a lot of people who can be self-motivated, right? But you could rest assured that those are few and far between, vis-a-vis the rest of people who need to be placed in that environment. They need leadership in order to bring out the positive aspects of their soul, of themselves, in order for that to happen. And it needs to be a community effort, like you're saying. It needs to be a community effort where the public, ownership brings what they bring to the table, and the government brings. And I think, if you create something, and places like Boston, I've seen the renaissance of areas where they create, let's say, the Baintown Development Corporation, where you create a management facility, a component to actually, go within the boundaries of that area, of that district, and basically do an audit of everything that is there, everything that is valuable, everything that is, do an inventory and an audit and of everything, and what has merit, you keep. What doesn't, you take down. You come up with a plan of, how you're going to, a master plan for developing the area, etc. And and this will provide, this will probably provide, probably 50% of the jobs that's required in that district. And you make that, and you could start with a model of, you mentioned 3 or 4 blocks, and you do it in phases, and then you advance, to the boundaries of the district.
Exactly. But you know something? I'm trying to think of the author is so popular, but my God, I can't put my finger on it. But Tom Sawyer. Now let me tell you something about, not tell you something, but let me say this, right? The one thing about Bahamians, the one thing I can guarantee you about Bahamians, once you do something, you talk about, you didn't say imagination, but you said something similar to that, right? In other words, motivation. How do we motivate that young person? You know how you motivate them? As you go and do it. You go and do it. And you know what they say? They say, what? That could be done? And they do it. They look at the coconut stands today. That started with one person selling coconuts, right? Now you have them all over the place, right? So the point being that how did Arak Port develop? How did that develop? It developed by a group of people getting together and in collusion with government saying this could work. and
Yes.
it's working. How could we be doing without our Rockport today? You follow me?
That's right.
But
Yeah.
you see, I am quite aware of give somebody enough rope to get in trouble. You don't need that. You need the Bahamian people need the resources the same way the people did Arawak Port as the same collusion that the entrepreneur needs from his government. You understand me? In other words, start treating us seriously. Don't treat us like somebody that brushes off. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let us loose. Let us be able to don't give us enough rope to get us in trouble. Okay? Let us you take for instance the Manufacturing Act, right?
Right.
That should go from any level, not the person spending $5-10 million only. That should go to the person spending $500, because you can still, if you're gonna do some manufacturing and a machine costs $500, you save 45%. You understand me?
Right.
And so what we need to do now as a matter of emergency and urgency is empower, allow Bahamian people to be empowered.
Right.
Okay, that's what we need.
And that should be the goal.
Well, yeah, it has to be the goal. Otherwise, you end up with a bunch of poor, doggone people, and poor, no good.
Right. And the solution, there's a professor who used to say the solution to every problem is between your two ears.
Exactly.
And it's between the ears of every human being in this country. Not between the ears of foreign investors.
No.
We seem to think that the foreign investors got to come and save us. When the ability, the foreign investor maybe years and years ago had some kind of empathy for the country, etc. But the new foreign investors, they're not here because they like you or love you. They're here to make money. So the thing is, let us within ourselves. The solution is within us. And it's organic. And nobody else has that solution because we are living it, and so we know what we need. We know what is what we respond to. And so we just need to create a model. And take a district and use that as develop the model, and then start with that district. And then, nothing is written in stone as you go along, and you see what works, what doesn't work, and you make the adjustments on the fly.
Right.
And so,
exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, and you'd be surprised how you mentioned the people are not, if people are included in that transaction to develop that district, they're not going to let anybody come in and destroy that.
Definitely
they're going to guard that. They're going to guard that.
Oh yeah. Well, the people who would normally be the destroyers would be the people doing it.
That's right.
You understand me? So yeah. Listen, my friend. I tell you right now, I already been there and done that. When you hear about people talking about city, you know what City 2000 is?
Hmm.
You ever heard the word City 2000?
City 2000, and that is down Carmichael Road. Yes.
You know who did that?
So I heard. So you're the Mr. Roker who?
I'm Peter. I'm not Mr.
Right.
Roker. I'm Peter.
Peter Roker. Okay.
Right.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
I did that.
Right.
When I say I did that, I didn't do it intentionally. I went out in the wilderness to start my business, and it so happened the way I did something out there created City 2000. Okay.
Right.
And I'm not. I don't pat myself on the back, but I went out there and took a chance.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And I tell you I can't do it on the radio now because it takes too much time, right? But I'll tell you something. The hardship I went through, as a Bahamian to spend my money and take my risk was atrocious.
Yeah.
Okay? Atrocious, okay? And that is why the foreigner can come in this country and get a red carpet. I tell you that, okay? When they come in this country, I always tell people, I've been bleeding like a goat, okay?
Right.
For Bahamians to have the same red carpet for any ideas they have, okay?
Yeah.
Because the foreigner is getting it, okay? And that's why we're so doggone backward. Is because the banks don't have any respect for us, okay? The banks loan, the people go and put the money in the bank, and the bank loan it to some foreigner coming here. They loan our money out, so they don't have any money for us. They have no respect for us, okay? They have no respect for us.
Right.
You see? So we have to change that mindset. And you see, let me say this to you, right? I am not going to term myself, I will not term TERM myself as being successful, right? But I can tell you one doggone thing, right? Ain't no one can come in this country and tell me that I haven't done my best to build my country. Okay?
Right.
I have done my best to build my country, and I will continue to do that, right? But you see, I am not anywhere near happy, because what is happening is that if I see all this foolishness going on, what am I to do? Sit there like a doggone fool and accept it? I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't.
Well, I tell you one thing. I don't think it's difficult for us to address, and I think until we address you mentioned the foreign investor getting the red carpet, and I think fine, give a foreign investor the red carpet, but create a red carpet also for the domestic investor.
Oh, definitely.
And
definitely.
so I would be partial, to increase the brightness of the red carpet to encourage domestic investment.
Well, because domestic investment stays here. No, listen, I love foreigners. I love foreigners. I love the idea of them coming here. They welcome the foreigners. Right? Yeah, sure. And they have a right, if they come into our country and they invest their money and they can repatriate their money, that's their privilege, okay? That's why they invest. Listen, I am totally investment friendly, right? But for God's sakes, give the Bahamian the same right.
Right.
Okay? Give the Bahamian, because when you give the Bahamian that same right, they are developing their country. Now, the other thing too, you got to understand something, okay? My first trip to Miami, when I walked in a business over there, the guy wanted to hire me, right? You could have jumped off a plane and gone and lived in the U.S. and no problem at all. You do the same thing in Canada, right? No more. The door in these countries have been closed.
Yeah, those windows are closed now.
They're closed now. You ain't going there talking about you coming to stay with them. They don't want you anymore. They don't want us anymore. They're closed. Okay? So the thing is this, right? If we don't make our own country a place that we can live in and be happy in, we ain't got nowhere to go.
That's right, yeah. And that's why I said, increase the brightness of the red for domestic investors.
Right, exactly.
Because we're the ones who are going to be the real builders. The guy who comes here, he's come to an opportunity. He sees that based on your tax structure or whatever, he could make that. But, that has a time span, that has a shelf life for him, because he, once that's starting to fall off, he's going to look for another location where the grass is greener.
Exactly.
We live here.
We're
going to die here. And so we have a vested interest in seeing this country develop. And all a country has two assets. It has the land and it has the people. That's it. A country only has two assets. And how you manage, and both of those assets have to be managed, assiduously, because that's how you're going to reap the benefits, and that's how the country is going to grow.
And the people have the benefit from it. The people have the benefit. The people have the benefit, because see, the stronger the people are, the stronger the country is. You
That's
know,
right.
even if you go from a selfish perspective, right? If you go from a selfish perspective, it is extremely important for the people to be well off. Okay,
Yes, it's very important. Yeah.
you're not safe unless the people are happy. Okay. Now listen, let me give you my phone number 424-0749. My show is coming to an end in a few minutes time.
Yeah, let me just write that down
Yeah.
because I was going to ask for it. 424
0749
0749.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and be more than
All
happy to talk to you anytime. I'm
I
always
will call you
available.
because I love this kind of conversation.
Well, thank you.
I have a passion
Yeah.
for it, and it's interesting to find somebody else with a similar passion. So
Well,
I would be in touch.
Well, it only takes a little spark to cause
Start a fire. Yeah.
the biggest fire ever. Okay,
That's right. Yes.
Thanks for calling in. I really very appreciative of you calling in. Okay, thanks very much.
Yeah. Okay.
All the
Good
best.
talking to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Hey, well, that was interesting. Hey, Jason. Yeah, very interesting. You see, we cannot relax our effort. I am concerned. I have 8 children, and I have 300,000 children. Because if every child and every person is not safe in this country, my children and I are not safe either. I understand that. I get that. Okay? I can feed myself. I have a car to drive in. I have a house to live in. I have those things. And if I would seek only my comfort, I would be totally misled. Absolutely misled. I cannot be happy if there is all of the deprivation around me. I cannot be. Okay? Now I can try and fool myself. I cannot be. I cannot tell you what to do. I cannot begin to tell you what to do. You are your own person. But you have to look around you. Do not allow others to make decisions for you. Make your own decision. Look around you, my God, look around you. Okay? And this form of oblivion, to be oblivious. This crime that we're having in this country is not a matter of saying these no good Bahamians or no good people, no good young people, they ain't no good and they're right off, they lazy as hell and they this and that. No. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. They are the same flesh and blood as everyone else. Okay? And I'm not talking about pity. I am not talking about charity. That is the least thing a person needs. I am talking about being sure. Ask yourself a question. Are we doing all that we can do? Can that young person be inspired to do something because the other young person is doing it? Well, we got to find one young person to start it. We got to find one middle-aged person to start it. We need to find one old person to start it. You're young as long as you are alive. You're always young, forever young. Okay, so we have to stop this foolishness of thinking that I have about a 4-day week. I have a 7-day week. I wish there was 8 days to accomplish what I want to accomplish, for God's sakes. Okay, because you know what? I am not going to stop until I know that I have done everything possible that I can do. And that is what I recommend to you. Don't stop until you're on top. Now, listen, that can be I want you to coin that for me, Jason. Jason, remember that. Remember that. Don't stop till you're on top. Okay, and I say that to you because that is necessary. Remember one thing: poor is no good. This is Peter Roker, Global Talk, 99.5 FM. That's Global Radio, by the way. Thanks a lot, okay? All the best. Thank you.
This girl think I's a joker. Take off her clothes and soca. I go and buy Peter Roker. Let's go buy me a super soaker. This girl think I's a joker. Take off her clothes and soca.
Global 99.5 FM.